Hey everybody. So one of my favorite Reddit forums is Am I the A-hole? And if you're not familiar with it, it basically has people writing their stories in, and they're wondering if they acted like an a-hole or if they acted like okay, and then people kind of judge their story and tell them, no, you're not, yes, you are. But I came across a really interesting Am I the A-hole story the other day that had me pause, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So it's on the Reddit sub forum, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for not letting my Jehovah's Witness parents convert my child? Advice needed. There is no, I think the post was deleted, so you can't see who originally posted it, but for some reason it's still up, so you can see what people wrote and what the original poster posted. So here it is. My Jehovah's Witness parents want to indoctrinate my child. Every time they come to my house, they bring my book of Bible stories. They keep telling my child that all LGBTQ is satanic and that God will destroy all homosexuals. Also, my dad mentions there's a conspiracy from the JWS to manipulate children to turn them into homosexuals, which is crazy. That's not even like a JW thing. That seems like a dark web conspiracy theory. He said, this is exactly what happened in Germany before World War II. Then my mom also puts fear into my child that Armageddon is just around the corner. All these homosexuals and transformers are trying to groom our children. She literally could not even say transgenders. What am I supposed to do? Am I the a-hole for not letting my parents trying to convert my child into a JW? Help is needed. Well, it's really interesting to read the comments below, but I'm just gonna give you my take. First of all, this doesn't even sound like how Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to talk. When I used to go to meetings, I always kind of liked that there would be articles about basically like, hey, the sin, not the sinner. And my gist of this was to be kind to everybody and just to kind of not do what they're doing, basically. And I'm not really sure if things have shifted or if this poster's, OP's original poster, if his parents are just extremely extreme. But I do feel like ever since that they started showing all the videos, that the rhetoric has become a little bit more hateful. There's the Caleb and Sophia with the two moms. I was still in at the time, but about to leave, and I just did not like that because they acted like you were supposed to, or like Sophia, the little girl, was supposed to tell her classmates that it's wrong that she has two moms. And I thought, what is she supposed to do about that? And I told my kids, I'm like, never do that. Like, what? Who are we to judge? Who am I to judge if somebody else has two moms or two dads? Like, that's so cruel. I find that so cruel. And so I guess the rhetoric has just changed. But I think in large, when you have left the Jehovah's Witnesses, but your family or a family member is still a JW, the main thing to remember is that they feel like they're saving people's lives when they preach. What they're really doing and what they're really supposed to do is recruiting people for their cult. Except that most people, especially with the JWs, don't recognize that it is a cult because they think it's just these nice people that come with the Bible in the hand, and they just don't recognize how dangerous it is, how high the self-hurt rates are. I don't want to say the word. And the disfellowshipping, how it affects people. So I think what's really important is that when your folks are still in it and you're thinking about letting your kids go over, I would not do it unsupervised, because there's no room to let your kid be influenced or recruited in any way. And how you have to see it almost is like, would you let your kids go over to your parents' house if they were Scientology? Because with Scientology, we recognize it more of like as a dangerous cult, but it really isn't that much different. The structure is the same, the shunning, all those things, you know. So no, you wouldn't let your kid go over to your folks' house if they were Scientologists, because you would be afraid that it would affect your kid. Well, it's very similar with the JWs. You can be there and you can also really lay some ground rules, but I would be there all the time, because JWs don't respect the rules. If you say you can see your grandchildren, but you cannot talk about anything JW related, they can't really help themselves. And from their perspective, I get it, because they feel like they're saving someone's life. But imagine if they actually were successful in recruiting the kids. I did know a family in my old congregation that where the grandparents did get both the grandkids in, and they were like super pioneer. The boy went to Bethel, and the mom actually woke up. So I don't really know how their connection is with their mom, but it's just so sad, because it will tear families apart. And what if your children grow up and they start shunning you or looking down on you? And what if they got recruited into this dangerous cult and started being really prejudiced toward the LGBTQ community? Or, you know, and what if they themselves grow up and are gay, but now they can't be free, and they have this, I mean, it leads people to really serious consequences when they think they can't be who they are. There's so many people who believe it's the truth, but yet they are homosexual, and it drives them to the brink of desperation. You don't want that for your children. So that's my take on this. But I have to read some of these comments because people are hilarious. So, Heat-Seeking Dinosaurs wrote, "You're the a-hole for allowing them into your house." And somebody underneath called Muted Piccolo 278 wrote, "Never open your door to a Jehovah's Witness." Oh my gosh, I'm loving these comments. It's so funny. Serious Internet 6478 wrote, "This is the answer. Those people will absolutely brainwash your kid every chance they get. When your kid is way older, maybe let them come over, but while your child is in their formative years, these folks don't need to be anywhere near them." And Bosted wrote, "Agreed. They should never be allowed to be alone with the kid." I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to withhold the kids from their grandparents. This is such a sensitive thing. My oldest, his grandparents on dad's side, they're J-dubs, and he does want to see them sometimes too. And it's very tricky because they're in a cult. They have poor judgment with many things, but he's almost an adult, and there's no way they will be able to recruit him, because it's like once you see through it, but it's a judgment call, you know. It's a little nerve-wracking too. And I did talk to a therapist about it too, and the therapist said I think he's in a good position where he's okay to see him because he's old enough and he understands, but at the same time it's his family. That's so hard, especially when you leave the J-dubs and you lose so much and you lose so many friends and family. You know, these connections are important, especially for kids. So I wouldn't really withhold the parents. I would just do supervised visits only, especially when they're little, and really educate your kids too. Educate your kids on why these things are wrong. I think that having healthy debates is healthy. We're always taught, don't talk politics, don't talk religion, and I don't really agree with that. I think that we should learn to be civil with each other. We should learn to have conversations with each other without blowing up, and be okay to have a difference in opinion. And I think that we can do that. I think that Jehovah's Witnesses can't do that because it's their way or their highway. They have that collective narcissism where they're a little bit better than everybody because they have the truth and no one else has it. But yeah, that's what I would do. What do you guys think? Would love to hear your answers and ideas and comments to this case. I'm sure there's so many cases like that among Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. So I'd be really curious as to what you guys think. And I'm going to link this specific blog post underneath too, so you can read all the comments. They're hilarious. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys later.